Hello guys and welcome back to my channel. As I have announced in the last videos, in the next episode we will dive into JSON authentication using only vanilla Node.js and JavaScript. And I did not forget that I also promised a very nice extra content, but these days I'm wondering what you would like the most. So now it's time to spill the beans. I'm wondering if you'd like to see how you can integrate a comment feature into our blog application to make the users able to post comments on our blog posts, or maybe you'd like to see how you can integrate, manage, organize and show post categories. Let me know in the comment below which feature you like the most. Today, finally, we are going to complete the last one of the 4 CRUD operation. I'm talking about the delete operation. Basically, we want to be able to delete our blog posts, but also to delete all the related post images. If you remember, in the last episode, inside our post edit templates, let's go over there, here, we have created the form with which we can delete our posts. So, as usual, we can start to build the front-end part and jump into our app.js file. So, before we start, we can zoom in a little bit. Okay, and we can close this tab as well. So now we can start to create our new function and we can call it app.delete post, and we want an async function. We want to wrap all inside a try catch block. Here basically, as we have done in the previous episode, we can make our server understand what kind of posts we want to delete by passing the post ID through our query string object. So here we want to grab our post delete form and bind it to a submit event in order to grab the post ID through the split method. We can copy this part of code from our app.edit post function here because we want to grab our post ID from the URL, and we also want to make the necessary checks on our post ID variable, and we want to also create our query string object and pass through it our post ID. So at this point we have only to grab our form by using the query selector method. And we have to bind it to a submit event. Here we want also an asynchronous function. And as usual, we want to use the prevent default method. And now the only things that we have to do is to make our client request by using our client request interface. We want to pass undefined because we don't have headers. We want to pass our post path. We want to pass the delete method. And we want to pass our query string object. And we want to pass undefined because we don't have payloads. So now we can console log out our server response. Okay. And as last things, we have to initialize this function inside our app.init function. So here app.delete post. Okay. Let's save our app.js file. Now, before we move on to test out our new function, we have to go in our handlers.js file to build the server-side behavior. Inside this file, we have to create a new function. Here, let's close all the others. Here we have to create a new function which we can call handlers.blogpost.delete, and we want an asynchronous function. We want to pass our data as well. At the moment, only for testing purpose, we want to return an object and we want to return a payload where we can send a message where we say we are in the delete method. Okay, let's save our endless.js file. Let's reload our Node.js server, node-index.js. Let's refresh our blog application and let's try to click inside our delete post. And if we go in our console here, we have to see our response object, and as you can see is message we are in the delete method. Okay, it seems that all is working okay. Let's close this tab, let's close this tab, and now before we can go ahead building the new server-side function, we have to go in our endless.blogpost function, because I noticed that in the first episode I make a mistake by naming in the wrong way our arrays. So here we have to correct this in this way. We have to correct also this one, okay. We have also to correct this one, and we have also to add here an S, because when we go to create this two array, we need that this two array will match with the array we have created in our path behavior. As you can see here, we have an all post images and all post images extensions. Okay, so here, in order that our path function works properly and put the new data inside the same array, we have to give the same name to our arrays. So here we have all post images and all post images extensions. So here we have to correct also this one in all post images, and here all post images extensions works well. So now let's save our endless.js file and we can go ahead with our delete behavior. The first thing that we want to do here is to grab our post ID from the query string object. In order to achieve this goal, we can go in our endless.blogpost.get function and we can get here our ID variable which contain the reference to our query string object. Okay, so let's copy this inside our delete behavior. So now we want to check if this variables is different from false. So if there is not ID, we want to give back a status code of 400, and we want to give back a payload which contain an error message, and we can say here no ID inside the query. Okay, I forgot to wrap all inside a try catch block, so let's do it. Okay, let's cut this piece of code and let's paste it here. Okay, now we can start to read inside our post data folder. And we want to pass our ID. So if there is not post data, we want to give back another error, and as well as before we want to give back a 400, and we can say error reading the post data. Okay, in order to make you understand better, I want to explain what we are going to do here. In the first and in the last episode, we built two arrays inside our post data object, which contains all the image file name and all the image file extensions. These two arrays are useful to delete all the related post images when we want to delete the post. In order to delete all the post images when we perform a post delete operation, we have to loop through these two arrays in order to build the actual image name. So to achieve this goal, we have to use a for loop. And here we want to delete all the images using the delete image function of our data object. So here we want to say await data.delete image. Here we want to pass the uploads folder. We want to pass our post data dot all images I, and we want to pass our post data all post images extension I. But as you may have noticed, this function does not exist yet. So let's go to build it together. Let's go in our data.js file. So let's start to create this new function. So first of all, we want to use the unlink method of the fs promises module in order to delete all the images. Here we want to use our base.dir image string in order to build a path that points to our upload folder. We want to pass our directory. We want to pass a forward slash. We want to pass our file name, we want to pass a dot, and we want to pass our file extension. Okay. If exists our file handle, true. Otherwise, we want to return false. Okay, let's go ahead in our handlers.js file to build our delete behavior. After we have deleted all the post images, we have to delete our post data object. So here we have to use as well a new function of our data object that we are going to build soon together. Now we can go in our data.js file to build this function. And as we have done for our delete image function, we can copy all this function and paste it here below. We can update the name, we can update the arguments we want to pass, we want to update also the base.dir string because we don't want to point to the upload folder, but we want to point to the post folder. And as well here we want to get rid of the file extension and we want to add here JSON. So let's save our data.js file. Let's go back in our handlers.js file, and now we have only to assign to a variable our delete post file handle. So let delete post. Now we have only to check if this delete post exists. If does not exist, we want to give back an error. Okay, and we want to give back an error that say error deleting the post. Okay, but if delete post exists, we want to get back a true unread status code, a success message. Okay, and here we want to send back your post has been deleted. Let's save our handlers.js file. Let's reload our Node.js server. Okay, CRS, node index.js. Now we are ready to test out our new feature. But before we do that, we have to update our database post object, because if you remember at the beginning of this tutorial, we have changed a mistake that I made inside the first episode. So in order to make our new feature work properly, we have to update these two fields. I want to grab these two names from our handlers function. So here we can go here. Okay, and we can say here all post images here. Okay, and all post images extensions. Okay, let's save, and as well for the other object. So here we can paste it the last one, and here we can go to grab all post images. Okay, let's save this object. Okay, now that we have just updated our TruePost object, we can close the last one. And before we go ahead to test out our new feature, we want to redirect the users to the home page when you update a post. So here we want to check if the server response contains an error object. So here, okay, we want to console log out the error. So here server response.error. Otherwise, and return. Otherwise, we want to redirect the user to our home page. So window.location.href. Okay, let's save our app.js file. Let's reload our blog application. Let's try to update a post. Let's say we want the JavaScript logo. Let's publish, and as you can see here, we have updated the post image. Here we have our new image here. Okay, let's try to delete this post. And finally, as you can see here, we are able to delete the post and all the related image, because here we have only one image. In order to see if all is working okay, we can try to create a new post in order to see if the update we have done in our blog post.post handlers is working okay. So let's create a new post. Let's insert some random text. Okay, some random number here. Okay, let's try to edit this post. For example, with the black one. Okay, publish. Okay, and as you can see here, we have 3 images. Okay, let's try to add another image. For example, the Node.js logo. Okay, let's publish, and as you can see, we have 4 images. Let's try to delete the post. And as you can see here, all is working okay, because we have only one image here and we have only one post object here. And that's all for this episode, guys. I really want to thank you for being here and for watching my videos. I hope that you enjoyed this video. As I said at the beginning of this video, in the next episode we will dive into the JSON authentication token. And as I said before, I really appreciate if you want to comment below with your favorite extra content feature. And to thank the people who will comment, one of the first 10 people who comment will be able to win a JavaScript t-shirt. If you like this video and you want to see more content like this, please consider to subscribe to my channel and leave a like. See you in the next one, guys.